This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic.
Wubba-lubba-dub-dub.
And Johnny, you're back to doing the original Wubba-lubba-dub-dubs, as last week was E3 week, and I know, Johnny, you're not asking the question, but for me, you guys are going, Ricky, didn't you wear that shirt last week? Didn't you wear the same exact shirt last week? Well, yes, I did, but the whole reason is we're actually recording this in the past before you guys are seeing this. Usually record it the Sunday before the week. However, I'm in California next week. I'm in California for the 25th, where we would usually record.
Yes.
So you guys seeing this on the 26th, I'm actually coming home from California today. So as you guys are watching this, I will be on my way home from California back here to Chicago. But we got a jam-packed show for you guys. We're going to be talking about Tom Holland. Can't keep his mouth shut. He loves to
he cannot.
He doesn't understand yet that Marvel doesn't like when you give away their secrets.
Marvel likes to leak secrets when they want to leak secrets.
It's kind of like I compare it to one of the sportscasters I watch, and Colin Cowherd.
Okay.
He has the saying where he goes, when news comes out, when you hear it, it's because people want you to hear it. Mm-hmm. So if you hear something about LeBron James, it's because he wants you to hear that.
Exactly.
That's how Marvel is. If something's going to come out, it's because they wanted you to hear about it. If you don't hear about it, they don't want you to hear about it. So we're going to talk about comments that he made about the Spider-Man Trilogy, and then we're going to look into X-Men. We're getting a villain for the Dark Phoenix saga movie, and then Game of Thrones. Do we have Jon Snow's real name? Did Empire Magazine accidentally give us Jon Snow's real name? We're going to look into that. The I-Team investigates. The R&J I-Team on the case to end the podcast when it comes to Game of Thrones. But, Johnny, let's start off with Spider-Man. Tom Holland, in an interview with Allociné, he said, and I quote, "Yeah, there was what we call an arc of the character. There is still a lot of room for Peter Parker and Spider-Man especially to grow in the next two movies. He's definitely not finished article by the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, and I really look forward to exploring the different ways he can go through puberty, I guess. It's going to be an exciting couple of movies." Then he was asked to clarify what he meant, and his reply was, "There will be a Spider-Man 2 and 3. Yeah? Well, now you know. Sorry, Marvel. Whoops." So I guess we're getting, we knew
we were getting number 2.
We knew we were getting 2. But we're getting a 3. Here's the thing. Did Sony and Marvel in the deal say you get Spider-Man, you get 3 Spider-Man movies and an Avenger movie? Or is it the deal was you get 2 Spider-Man movies and an Avenger movie? They're currently working on a new deal for that third one.
Unless the deal was already, and Marvel didn't actually let it out yet.
That's what I'm saying. We know Marvel. They only let you hear what you want to hear.
Exactly.
Was this something where they had already agreed on a trilogy? Because last week we talked about Black Panther, and Kevin Feige said, yeah, we got movies planned all the way to 2024.
Exactly.
So for me, we're going to ask the question. We're going to answer it. I'll post it to you. What storylines could we see? I know we haven't seen Homecoming yet. However, we kind of have a base of what the story is going to be. Peter Parker learning to be Spider-Man. The Vulture hates Tony Stark. Peter Parker's getting in the way. Him growing as learning how to be Spider-Man and what it takes to be a hero. That's mainly going to be the kind of just general umbrella for the movie. Of course, there's going to be things inside the movie that shift things.
Yeah.
But before we see Homecoming or Spider-Man Homecoming, where do you think they're going to go, or where can they go? What villains can we see for Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3? Because we know we're getting 3.
Well, I'm going to start with this. We got Homecoming 2, Homecoming 3 coming out. And here's one thing that's kind of an underlying part of it, at least from what you and I have seen from the preview so far.
Yeah.
He's on, and it kind of goes along with the Civil War storyline that we first got him in. He's on Tony Stark's side. Now it seems like that might be breaking a little bit because Tony's taking that suit away, kind of like and he notices like, no, he's kind of just a kid. He might start switching to that Cap side
like
over
he
these
did
movies.
in the comics.
In the comics, yeah, exactly. In the comics, I'm like, oh wait, there's another reference. No, there's not.
No, in the comics though, it wasn't. He was on a team. It was just him and Stark were close.
Yeah.
He creates the Iron Spider suit, and eventually Peter Parker goes, "No, I don't like this.
This isn't right."
Yeah, this isn't right," and then goes over to Cap's side.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have the different play in it because Civil War was very different. So I feel like it's gonna maybe have at least an underlying version of that storyline where he flips.
Yeah.
And goes, oh no, this stuff's actually not right. I'm going to kind of start siding with Cap and realize he might be right about a lot of this stuff. You can't work within the government and be a superhero.
Yeah. There's a fine line you got to ride, and sometimes you got to be on the left, sometimes you got to be on the right
Exactly.
of that line. To me, I look at it and go, if we're going down that route, you know what I totally want to see? Like we saw in the comics where Spider-Man's in the courtroom. Whoa, whoa. Hey, guys. I'm registering.
Yeah.
And he shows the world that Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't think they would do that. I think they would just kind of have him sway over to the other side if they were going to do it.
I agree with that part.
For the individual movies, what are we going to see?
Individual movies.
The Spider-Man 2 that we already know we're getting in 2019. And then now I guess we're getting Spider-Man 3. Like, where would you go for solo movies when it came to story?
It's really hard to say what they're going to do because this is like...
Because they're getting rid of phases.
They're getting rid of phases. Not just that. This is kind of like an offshoot in a sense because... like this storyline, I've not read it anywhere where we got Iron Man, or it's based on Peter Parker, but we got the Iron Man team up with what's his name, Vulture hating Iron Man instead of being a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah,
so there's so many ways to play into this.
He's a Spider-Man villain, but they're tying it into the MCU with him
hating Tony Stark. So it's just like, how are you going to tie these villains in? I would love to see Mysterio. I'm going to throw that first one out to you.
That's one where I don't remember. Like, that's one that it's from the animated series we grew up with. Was always one of my favorites.
Yes. I mean, he's great for PG-13 because you don't need to get super violent with him. Yeah. Like we were talking about before the podcast, you brought up Venom, but would you really want to see him go from rated R that Sony's going to do and numbed it down to PG-13 or maybe even PG?
Even like a Carnage. I feel like Venom and Carnage are out. Keep them with Sony. Don't even mix them up into the MCU. But I kind of have a weird feeling that what they would do is, well, because it's also interesting. In this movie that we have coming up, we don't have a Mary Jane.
Nope.
We don't have a Gwen Stacy. Is this going to be a Spider-Man where they're kind of going more towards, without calling him this, they're going over to an Ultimate Spider-Man type of Spider-Man?
Could very much be.
Because think about it. The school that we see in the background in the trailer is the same school that we see in Ultimate Spider-Man. The only thing that's missing is Principal Coulson is not there. Yeah. Because like he was in the animated series, Coulson was always around. Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be awesome. Tie him back in.
They're at the school, and it's just like, Principal Coulson. It's like, whoa, I thought you were dead kind of a thing. But I have a weird feeling that maybe they're going to go more towards that side. Not the team. Not like you get Nova, you get Iron Fist, you get White Tiger, but more towards that Spider-Man, which means two villains that I kind of feel like they're not going to incorporate are Green Goblin and Doc Ock.
Probably, in that we've used them quite a few times already. We may just step back from those now.
Green Goblin is the, like, he's the number one. He's the one you got to go with. Yeah. If you're me, like...
Or Hob.
How can you have a Spider-Man without the Green Goblin?
The Green Goblin or the Hobgoblin, one of the two.
I would go Green Goblin more than Hobgoblin. That's what I would do.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, either way, going with one of those, it's like kind of iconic to have him versus Spider-Man. But as we see in this first movie, we're not going to get that. But it could be eventually a development in the next 1 or 2 movies, which would help develop the Spider-Man character himself too. And not just that, we see in the movie kind of like the puppy love interest of that, where we got Peter Parker pining over the popular but super smart girl in school.
It's kind of like your Mary Jane kind of character.
But then, well, actually, I would consider it more like a Gwen Stacy. But then you have her Mary Jane, the Mary Jane-ish type, which was, if you see in the previews, sitting at the table with them and calls them creeps.
Yeah.
So the other thing was, you mentioned White Tiger. I'm like, well, maybe one of the two of them could be
that.
White Tiger.
The one you're talking about, the second one, was where she goes, "Hey, Peter, where are you going?" "Nah, I don't care. Just go." And then she goes back to what she's doing.
Yeah.
And those two characters, I believe, are Michelle is one of them, and the other one is I'm trying to see. I can't see the other one. The only one I can see is Michelle, which is Zendaya, who's playing that character. So one of them is called Michelle. The other one, you kind of got like that popular girl, the one that he sees walking by. It's like, Peter, what are you doing? Peter, huh? No, I'm here. And the other one kind of being like the chill, just one of the guys. There's one villain that I would love for them to adapt to a movie.
Okay.
And me and you talked about it while we were coming to the podcast today.
Yeah.
Scorpion.
Yeah, we have.
I would love for them to.
Haven't seen a single Scorpion yet.
I would love for them. There's actually 2 that I would love to see. One is Scorpion. The other is Kraven.
Yes.
Like a Kraven, but I don't know how you would fit Kraven into a Spider-Man movie, because the thing that I wonder, and here's what I wonder, if because they're moving away from phases, if after Infinity War, Spider-Man's off on his own, and we don't have to worry about tying him into anything anymore.
That's true.
We don't have to worry about this constant, because the whole thing that Marvel has not hyped on, but harped on, is storylines.
Yeah.
From
how everything connects.
Well, not just that. It's the line that I picked out from one of their interview type featurettes, is that they were saying, we don't want to just throw a character out there because the character's there.
Yeah.
We want the story of the movie to be the strongest. The story drives the character. What if they just go after Infinity War, this overarching story thing ends, nice bow on it, and then they start where it's like, you know what? Instead of telling a huge overarching story, we're going to tell really good individual stories, and sometimes the heroes might intermix.
Yeah, exactly.
To where it's like, instead of having an entire story where everyone's involved, everyone just goes off on their own, and sometimes they're going to intermix here, intermix there. In that case, maybe we do get a Kraven. Maybe we do get a Mysterio, because it's like, well, we don't have to worry about bringing Iron Man into this movie. We could just have it be Peter Parker.
Exactly.
We could just have it be Spider-Man, because after Homecoming, he's going to learn how to become Spider-Man. After Infinity Wars, he's just going to build on that development of being Spider-Man, especially with the Avengers, so that when we get to Spider-Man 2, we're probably going to be with the Spider-Man that's like, guys, I got this.
He's seasoned.
I am Peter Parker. I am a seasoned Peter Parker guy. That's what I think we'll see.
Now, I don't know Mysterio's, what his motivation would be, but I can give you some motivation to have a Kraven in there.
Okay, give me the pitch. Give me the elevator pitch, Johnny.
Elevator pitch. Okay, here we go. Well, you know how Kraven is the best hunter in the world. Yes. He goes after everything. Well, what's better game for you after you've topped the charts in your hunting career than someone that can catch the spider, but a human, something that can think as a human, that can climb on walls, swing around everywhere, and you hear this from stories, from papers, from TV, and like, I've never hunted something like that before.
I need to catch it.
What's better motivation than that when it comes to Kraven?
I could see it.
Exactly. Easy. It's easy. It's also an easy sell.
So, I mean, Kraven's been the one that's always, like me, I've always liked Kraven as a villain.
Yeah.
I've always liked what he brings to, because he's very different.
He is.
He's more animalistic than any of the other heroes, or not heroes, villains.
There you go.
That Peter Parker. Yeah. Now we're calling villains heroes. Ricky, what's going on here? You know,
it's a mixed up world.
You know, it's one that just popped into my head.
Yeah.
That I know we won't see, but I would love to see.
Go for it.
What if they did a crossover where they said, we're bringing in Kingpin. We're taking him from the Netflix side, and he is going to be the mob boss. Fisk is the mob boss. Like, after Infinity Wars happens, we find out that Fisk is back, but now he's in Spider-Man's turf.
Now, let me ask you this.
Now Spider-Man's got to go up against the Kingpin.
I'm getting the dates jumbled right now. We're getting number 2 after we get Infinity Wars Part 2 or before? Okay.
Yeah, it's the 2 that are after Infinity Wars. How it works is Infinity Wars comes first.
Yes.
The last movie of the phases is that Avengers 4, the one we talked about last week with Chris Evans. After Avengers 4, the only 2 movies they have planned right now are Spider-Man 2 and Guardians 3.
Because I was going to say, it's potentially the idea that maybe we have it tie in more so now with the Netflix universe of it. We could,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, why? Yeah. Like, I wonder if they're ever going to bring that in.
I'm honestly hoping they at least hint at bringing it in during Infinity Wars, because there's a lot more heroes that we have to play. Right now we have 4 more heroes to play with. They're just kind of off in this little corner right here saying, oh, you guys are just Netflix. But just bring the 4 of them on would be awesome. That's 4 more heroes to fight against Thanos now, and bigger box office.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing is, in the Avengers movies we got coming up, there's we even mentioned it with Chris Evans last week. There are so many characters that they have to fit in that you need 2 movies anyways. Why add more? Why add more to that storyline?
That's very true.
What I was thinking is maybe, and it depends on what you're going to do with the Netflix series moving forward. It all depends to me what's going to happen with Defenders.
Yeah.
Because if the Defenders are going to go and do their own thing and not necessarily focus on a Fisk, then Fisk can go off and be Spider-Man's villain.
Yeah.
Or one of Spider-Man's villains in the movie. I just, yet again, have a hard time of saying that there's going to be, I feel like it's hard to say we're going to have a Spider-Man trilogy, but we're not once going to mention the Green Goblin.
No, I'm hoping we do.
We're not once going to say, here's the Green Goblin. What I think might happen is, wouldn't it be something at the end of Homecoming, either at the end of Homecoming or at the end of a different Marvel movie? You know how they like to do the after credits scene?
Yeah.
Kind of like a Power Rangers type thing. They're at the school. Oh, in class, here's your new student. You just see from here down, and he's in a nice suit. Mr. Osborn. Boom.
True.
Harry
Osborn.
And then that could be you can start Spider-Man 2 is him becoming friends with Harry, learning more than about the father Osborn, and that's how you bring the Green Goblin into it.
Or just a little variation on yours. Say, like we get in many other storylines, he already was friends with Harry. Harry's being brought back, and that's how you introduce the Osborns. So it's like,
true.
Here's the so-and-so. Or
the only thing that I wouldn't buy from that is, and of course, this is the part where we got to see Spider-Man Homecoming first. Yes. If the Osborns are there, of course, people are going to know Mr. Osborn.
Yeah.
They're going to know the father, but there's no mention of him anywhere.
Well, not until
there's no mention of an Osborn anywhere in the storyline at all.
Well, like you said, we have to wait for Homecoming because we want to make it. We also want to make it relevant. You just don't want to just throw the name in there and that'd be it. So I mean,
I'm saying
having Harry,
kind of like little slide, like, oh, that thing said Oscorp on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't seen Homecoming yet, so we haven't gotten a hint of that yet. But the other thing would be saying, hey, instead, you can't just throw his name in there and expect it to just stick 100%. I mean, unless it's like on a billboard saying Oscorp or the building saying Oscorp. You throw Harry in there and, hey, Harry, welcome back. And then you can tie in.
I guess you could.
Yeah, I would say you can go either way with it. You can just say, oh, here's your new classmate, Harry Osborn. And Peter becomes friends with it. Or we can have the lasting already relationship. And, hey, welcome back, Harry. And it's Harry Osborn, and then you get to kind of tie in his dad, and then you get to have the Green Goblin.
This is where I'm going to flip the conversation.
Okay.
I'm flipping the conversation onto you guys because I want to know what you guys think. I want to know for the next, let's say you're Kevin Feige, you guys are at the head of the MCU. Congratulations, guys. You guys have just been named to that. Woo! Big ups to you guys. But tell me what would the story arc be or the storylines be for you for 2 more Spider-Man films? What would you do? What villains would you want to see? What kind of development would you go with? Tell us down below in the comment section what you guys think. I want to turn it on to you guys and complete the discussion in the comment section.